14th of January, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
What else we got? Oh, what's that?
It was your walker. It was all like leaning
Oh,
sideways against the chair.
oh,
What else is there to eat? Eggs.
no. Okay. We'll start in about 2 minutes, maybe 3.
What did you just say? I didn't hear you.
Oh, I said we're gonna start in about maybe 3 minutes.
3 minutes?
We're doing part 2.
You want later? Should I make it now?
Make it now. I'll have it now. They eat and drink in front of while
that later.
Oh, welcome, Phil.
Hello, how you doing?
Baruch Hashem. And you? Take you look good.
Yeah, beautiful day today. This week's been unbelievable.
Yeah, cheers. Coldish, but very nice. All right. Mm. Mm.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, welcome back and good morning to Phil.
Good morning.
And we're ready to go with Baba Metzia. So, let's see where we got up to. Okasha kan b'shtar hava, lo yoiv inish zuze b'kdi, kan b'mikach minka, the ovid inish, the zovin, arot liyome. Yeah. Okay, so we finished that. Now we're up to kihahi da'avua or ihi. More is going to go into a story here, I guess, to support what we just got through saying about a star halva and a star machira.
Hmm.
And this can be found well, it's about a little bit beyond the middle of the page on Yud Dalet Amud Aleph. First word in the line is the Ovid. We start with the last two words of that line, ki hahi.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 7 lines down from the top of the grey line, the vertical grey line, and it's the bottom line, the very bottom line on the left-hand side of 14A2. 14A2, the very last line. Although the introduction is a few lines above that, the Gemora finds corroboration for the distinction between loan documents and documents of sale.
Okay, Alan, would you like to read?
But you have to take off your muting button.
So, Roy has said the bottom line on the left-hand side on,
The last line on the left-hand column.
right, key, key, he, roar, bar, ichi, which, huba, bar, ihi, Zivin, we saw Ma'ati bought an upper story of a house from his sister. Torah Baal, Hov, Torah 4, Ni, Then creditor of the sister came and seized the second story from him in payment of a debt owed him by his sister. The sister recommended him, which he refused to do, so he came before Shmuel to sue his sister in court. Omar lay because of war law Ahar Rosh Shmuel said to Vuha, did she write for you the stipulation of a guarantee in your document of sale? Omar lay, no. Abiyahu answered him, no. More, no. Omar lay, in came zeal, Torah. Shmuel then said to Abu Hal, if so, go in peace. But for example, you have no case. Omar li, Ahuva, Avuha, asked Shmuel, before who to Imar, Yos, to Os, so far who
Okay. So that's the Gemora is bringing this as a support to what we just got through saying. And when it comes to a mekach or memkar, a start to sell and to buy property. So we don't say we don't say that the seller. We don't say that if there's no clause, then certainly there must have been a mistake of the scribe. We say that the seller never intended to encumber his property to secure the sale that he's making over here. So that's what happened over here. Avu Bar Ihi, he bought the second floor of the house that his sister was living in. He figures everything is good, and then somebody that was a creditor of the sister came and took away the property, and so he went before Mar Shmuel, and Mar Shmuel said, is there achrayas in the star? So he said no. So he said, if so, then there's nothing that we can do for you. Zeal lishlomo, go in peace. That's it. Is there any Rashi? Yeah. There's a Rashi, Zeal l'shlomo.
Where's that? I can't find it. I'm looking. Oh, I found it. Yes.
It's the second wide line in Rashi.
Right, yes, the end.
Zil b'shlomo, which is like go in peace, like get out of here. In Khan, there is not din, and any judgment there, a din, shemachla ala kol, that does it on everything. Machla. Well, machla is a disease. I don't know what that would be. Why are you saying that? Machla.
Oh, from the word mechila.
Mechila? Oh, forgiveness on all. Okay, so there's no forgiveness on it all. There's no such rule as
Shemachalta
forgiving
al
all.
hakol. You forgave. Yeah, what exactly is Rashi telling him? In other words, since the star mechira over here was did not have a clause that gives achrayus, that the property was encumbered to guarantee the sale. So who's the one that was mochel this thing? I guess the buyer, Avua Bar Ihi. He didn't know that he was being mochel, but that's what Shmuel is telling him. Apparently, in other words, when you agreed to buy this property, even though there was nothing in the contract for the sale of the property to indicate that there was any achrayas on the that was put upon the seller to that if the property that he sold you, he takes responsibility for it, and his property, other property, will be there to reimburse you for the loss, unless there was a clause like that. So you have been mochel, you yourself, by going through with the deal, even though it didn't have that clause. You have basically said that you're mochel, that you are foregoing any right to get your property back. Okay. Or to any compensation in the event that such a thing should happen. Okay. Okay, so now of course, so this is what, right? This is what Shmuel is the judge over here in this case, and Avua Bar Ihi, he was the litigant who went to Shmuel for a ruling. So that's what Shmuel told him. So now, Avua Bar Ihi, he's not just a simple person. He's one of the Amoraim in the Gemora. So he has what to say about what Shmuel told him. So let's see what he answers back to Shmuel. Shmuel said, sorry, Avua Bar Ihi, you have no case. So what does Avua Bar Ihi say? He doesn't take that sitting down. Amar le. And we go back to Roy to continue.
Is where I've got the Gemara digresses. No, Abaya. Where's that? I've got Abaya Omar Abaya.
No, that's you're a few lines too far down.
And what's the line?
First word in the line is Shmuel.
I mean, what's the sentence start? How's the sentence?
Why Amar le?
I've got it right. Amar le la. Avuha answered him, no. Omar le im kain zil lishloma. Shmuel then said to Avua, I'm used to saying Ahuva as a female name. Anyway, Avuha It says, if so, go in peace. That is, you have no case. Omar lay, Avua asked Shmuel, Beho ma, who doma acharus, to'us, sofer, who. But it is master who maintains that the absence of a guarantee in a document is an oversight of the scribe, so I should have the right to guarantee even if it was not spelled out in the document. Omale, Shmuel answered him, Haini Milah Bishatori Alavar. That applies only in regard to loan documents. Aval Bishtori Mika or Umimako law. But in regard to documents of buying and selling, it doesn't apply. Does not apply. Rather, in sale documents, the guarantee must be spelled out. Enosh, Duzovin, Leomia, for it is conceivable for a person to buy a piece of land even for one day.
Right. That's what we said yesterday.
Yes.
That even if he's going to have it for a temporary amount of time before it's taken away, he wants to buy it for that amount of time that he's able to have it. There is such a thing as a sale like that a person does. So therefore, since there is such a thing like that, we can't say like we say in the case of a loan document. What do we say in a case of a loan document? Who's the one that's putting out the money? The lender. What do we say about the lender? Oh, this lender, he is not going to put out money for nothing. If he's going to put out money, he's going to, in other words, make a loan. He's not going to do so unless he has a guarantee that if in the event of non-payment, he's going to be able to get property of the debtor. But so therefore we have an implied clause, even if it's not there. We say it should be there because that's certainly that's certainly the thinking of a lender, the one who's putting out the money over here. But we're saying in a case of a buy-sell agreement for land, we're saying it's not like that. It's not like that. It said because here we have such a situation as a person who is willing to buy land. We say there is such a thing. There is such a thing as a person who's willing to buy land, even if it's going to be for a temporary period of time, and before it's taken away from him. And if you want to know what kind of sense does that make, he's going to pay. He's probably going to pay a limited amount of money for such a piece of land, right? That has no guarantee of how long he's going to keep it. So he's not going to pay so much money for such a piece of land. But there is such a thing like that. There is such a thing as a person putting out money, and it's not going to be that he has the land forever. So since there is such a thing like that, so we have to if we don't find a clause in the document, we'll say, oh, it must be that this guy, he's one of those types of guys. And so we don't assume that the sofer made a mistake in such a case if he didn't write in the guarantee clause. Okay. And furthermore, what else we see? We see that in this case, that was just what the Gemora made a distinction to explain the seeming contradiction in Shmuel. Because in one document, Shmuel says, oh, if the sofer didn't put it in, it must be he made a mistake. And in the other case, Shmuel didn't say that. Shmuel didn't say that there was any mistake. So the Gemara answered, there's no contradiction because there are two different cases. There's a difference in the case. And now the Gemara is bringing this Maisa that really happened. And we see here clearly that, in fact, what the Gemara said was exactly what Shmuel himself held. So the Gemara got it right. We see that Shmuel told Avua bar Ihi this very distinction between a loan document that doesn't have a clause in it and a buy-sell agreement that doesn't have a guarantee clause in it. Shmuel himself told him this difference. Okay. Okay, so that wraps up that section. And now we go on to Amar Abaye. Oh, we have a Rashi over here. Lou, you want to read the Rashi? It's the Rashi Divra Maskil Achrayas, and it's in the third wide line of the Rashi.
Okay, let me see. Bachrayus,
Right.
with a lean. Im yitz itrafua mi menu yishalem lo. I don't know this word yit rafua.
This is what we call what happens when the creditor comes and he takes the property away from the one that bought it from the debtor. We say that he's toref it, he's toref the property from the buyer.
So if he takes the property from the buyer and pays him,
In other words, what does it mean by achrayas? It means that if the property is taken away from him by a creditor of the seller, yishalim lo, he will pay him. Who is he? Rashi doesn't tell us, but we understand that it must be referring to the buyer. Meaning, in other words, the buyer is selling his land to a seller, and if the document has an achrayas clause in it, so what's that achrayas clause all about? Rashi says that if the creditor of the seller comes and is toref and takes away the property from the buyer and says, sorry, but this property was on lien to and so he takes the property away. So if the star was written with achrayas, so then the seller can go, the buyer can go to the seller and say, listen, my document has achrayas. You got to pay me for the loss that I suffered. I paid you money for this land and it got taken away. So you got to reimburse me.
so the borrower has to pay the buyer for the property that the borrower sold the buyer.
No. We're talking about the buyer is going to go back when the buyer is going to go back to the seller and demand reimbursement for the fact that the property that he sold him got taken away from him.
Right, and I'm saying the seller is also the borrower.
The seller, yeah, he owes money to the one that took the property away, right?
Right, so I'm saying the buyer goes back to the lender, the borrower, who is his seller, and he says, "Give me back my money."
Right. Right. And the seller, in other words, is going to pay him.
When it says Yishalem lo, it's saying that the borrower pays the third party, the buyer.
The one that sold the one that sold the property.
Right, that's the borrower.
Yeah, he sold the property, and in the document that he sold him the property, there's an achrayas clause in it. There's an achrayas clause that says that he's guaranteeing this sale. And so, what does it mean that he's guaranteeing the sale? So Rashi explains: if the creditor of the seller comes and takes it away from the buyer, so the buyer is going to go back. The seller is going to have to pay the buyer.
And now you're confusing me. The achrayas clause that we were talking about was in the loan document.
Yeah, we're not talking about loan documents. We're now talking about a document for the sale of property.
Right. Well, who says that there's an achrayas clause in that document?
No, we're saying if there would be one. The
Right.
Gemora is discussing if there isn't one. What do we assume? Do we assume that the sofer made a mistake in not writing it, or do we assume that's what we say in the case of a loan document? We assume that the sofer made a mistake
In a loan document, right?
Yeah, but in the case of a shtar machira, which is a buy-sell agreement for a piece of land, if there's not an achrayas clause in it, so we do not assume that the sofer made a mistake. That's what we're learning here right now. But what Rashi is saying is, he's saying if there was an achrayas clause, so what happens?
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
You know what? Now I'm thinking right now, just 1 second. Is this Rashi talking about which is this which star is Rashi talking about over here? Maybe Lou is right. And he's talking about the loan document.
That's exactly what I'm confused about.
Okay, let me see. 1 second. So Rashi, the first Rashi said Zil Shloma. Right? Shmuel told him, "Go in peace, you have no case." So he said back to him, Hamar Amar de Amar Achrayas to Soferhu. But the master, he's referring to Shmuel as the master, the one that just paskin that he has no case. The master said that achrayas is a tos soferhu. So in fact, that really is talking about the case that you're talking about, because that's where Shmuel said that achrayas is a tos sofer. He said it in the case of a loan document. And that's what Avua Bar Ihi is referring to. He's saying, Shmuel, your master said that this clause The matter of achrayus is a tos sofer.
What's a tos sofer? A mistake of the scribe?
Right. What does that mean? If there is no achrayus clause in the document, we say, oh, the reason why there's no clause is because the sofer made a mistake and he didn't write it in. What does that mean? That means that we assume that the agreement between the parties was that the loan is being given with achrayus. What does that mean? That means if the borrower doesn't pay, so his property is on lien in order to make good on the loan that the lender loaned him. So you're right. This case, these words that Rashi's talking about over here, he's talking about, I mean, the case is referring to a loan document because that's the only case where Shmuel said this.
Well, wait a second. Don't we have a statement that's regarding a document of buying and selling?
Right, but when it comes to buying and selling, we do not say that achrayus is a tos sofer.
Right. But when we talk about achrayus, are we talking about the loan document or the buying and selling document?
Yeah, see, that's the confusing part over here. The case in the court here is a case about a sale of land, that there was a contract for the sale of land. And
right.
That contract did not have an achrayus clause in it. So Shmuel said to the buyer, Avu Bar-I, he said to him, if you don't have an achrayus clause in the document, so then,
you're out of luck.
Zil l'shlama. Yeah, go in peace.
Right.
There's nothing I can do for you.
Because we don't have this opinion that it's a mistake.
In regard to a document for the sale of land.
Right, because it could be for a short time.
Right. So what the buyer, what Avu Bar-I is saying back to Shmuel, he's saying, but Your Honor, you yourself said that achrayus is a tos sofer. You yourself said that if achrayus doesn't appear in the document, it's the obvious mistake of the scribe.
Right.
So what does Shmuel say back to that? He says that I said that was only in regard to a loan document.
Right. That's when he says, go in peace. You have no case.
Yeah, but in the case, but you're not talking about a loan document. Shmuel's saying to the buyer, we're not talking about a loan document over here. You bought a piece of land. When you buy a piece of land, if there's no achrayus clause in the document, that's not a tos sofer. We assume that what that means is that you bought it and you paid money for it, and you hope to have the land as long as you possibly can, but you realize that it's possible that you won't have it too long at all.
Okay, so now back to the Rashi. ba'achrayus. If he took the property from him, he pays him.
Right.
So now explain that, please.
So I originally thought that what the buyer is saying over here is he's talking about his situation, which is that he bought property, and he's saying that he thought that the Shmuel's ruling would apply in his case as well. That when we talk about that we don't what in other words, what Shmuel, why are you saying that if there's no achrayus, then I have no case? You yourself were the one that said achrayus is a tos sofer. Okay, so look. So what does Rashi say? Rashi says, Rashi's very careful over here to not say whether the case that we're talking about is a loan or the case that we're talking about is a sale of property. Rashi doesn't mention anything about that. He just says that in regard to the matter of achrayus, that if they take the property away from the person, then he will pay him. That's the exact translation of Rashi. So what I'm saying is it's not really clear to me whether Rashi's talking about a loan document or we're talking about a document for a sale of land. But it's clear that Avua Bar-E is understanding that it should apply to his case also. So if you apply it to his case is a case of a sale of land. So how would achrayus work in that case? Achrayus would work that if somebody comes along and takes the property away from the buyer, so then the seller's gotta pay him back. I think that's what he's referring to, because in a case of a loan document, achrayus would mean all achrayus means is that he's talking about Rashi's talking about a buy-sell land agreement, because in the case of a loan document, nobody's paying anybody if property is taken away. That's what achrayus provides for in a loan document. Achrayus in a loan document means that the property will be taken away. That's what it means. It'll be taken away to guarantee the loan of the lender. And here achrayus is talking about where the sale of land is made with achrayus, that the seller guarantees that if your property that I'm selling you is taken away from it, I'll pay you for it. I'll pay you for your loss. I think that the more that I think about it, it's clear that Rashi's talking about the case of the sale of land. he's saying that this is what the seller over here is claiming should happen in his case, that his seller has got to pay him back. His sister is going to have to pay him back because he paid her money for this land, and now her creditor took away the property from him. So she has got to pay it back. And even if there's no achrayus clause in the document, but you yourself said that achrayus is a tos sofer. It's an oversight of the scribe. We imply it even in the case where it's not written in explicitly. Okay.
I'd like to discuss this again tomorrow.
Okay.
I have a couple of questions to ask you, but it's 12:36, so I think we got to go.
Oh, okay. All the best, everybody.
Thank
Take care.
Bye, Alan. Bye, Phil. And Lou and Roy.
Thank you. I don't think I'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Roy.
Be well. Be well.
Hatzlacha Rabbah.